Let's go! Who's up next?
Welcome, one and all, to this week's installation of the Xbox Empire. It is I, your host, Kevin, and with me, of course, is the hostess to my mostess, Mr. Donnie Reese.
Greetings, Koopalings. What's going on? Excited to talk a little Xbox.
I feel like we should. We've kind of had a streak right now of doing it weekly, so, I mean, why do anything different, really, at this point?
And,
we got a thing going.
We haven't said it on the podcast. I have addressed it on Twitter. For all of you that have tuned in to start listening to us, thank you. Thank you a lot. I see you. I don't really go into our numbers or care about it much, but every so often I just kind of check in on things, and I was stunned and shocked last week when I checked on the Xbox Empire. So thank you so much for tuning in to the Xbox show. Hopefully Rand or Sean or somebody brought you by. We're happy to have you. Hopefully you stick around, and make sure you check out some of our other shows if you're interested. We've got a Nintendo show, a PlayStation show. We've got kind of like a variety show. PSVG Prime kind of covers everything. Game Tech, like we have a lot of shows. Board games. So if you just came here for Xbox, if you're interested in anything else at all, just search PSVG. We've got a lot to offer.
Yeah, you'll find it all. I mean, let's be honest, Donnie. You take, half of one of the top shows in all of PSVG. You take a third of the other top show in all of PSVG. And you mash them together. What do you think was going to happen? Of course, the show's huge. I mean, come on.
I did not expect that to happen because if our community is any evident of like a sample, I mean, Xbox has very little juice.
That's true, but for some reason people watch. That's
true, right? Yeah, it's true. It's the thing Sean always says, right? Everywhere I see on Twitter and when I follow IGNs and GameSpots, everybody talks about how down and out Xbox is, and Sean keeps bringing up like numbers socially. Xbox does great. Halo does great numbers. Lots of people watch the trailers. Lots of people tune into the show. So their fans are out there. They have fans. But yeah, it doesn't seem to be as big a thing in the podcasting space, I guess.
That's true. Well, speaking of fans, we have to take a time out and thank our biggest fans over at patreon.com/PSVG. So special thank yous to Edwin Callow, Barry Cathcart, Josh the Bonesaw Barboni, Chris McElfresh, Devin Tyus, Kyle Heyman, Paul Calicote, Mike Masick, The Egg Shen, Zach Bradshaw, Nick Fahaba, and new level alert here for Rob Emanuel. Thank you all so much for your love and support. We do genuinely appreciate it. And if you would like to support us monetarily, head on over to patreon.com/PSVG and help keep this pirate ship afloat. But Donnie, now that we got the housekeeping out of the way, we're here to talk about Xbox.
Yeah.
So let's jump in right now.
Hey.
And the first thing you have here on the docket is something that you've been playing that I want to hear about. I've completely tuned out everything since the first trailer on this. So I am interested in hearing. Now, tell me why obviously isn't the same as Life is Strange. They're probably similar from the same vein, I'm sure. Life is Strange has never really connected with me, so will tell me why change my mind, do you think?
No.
Okay.
No, it's the same game. They're different, obviously, different story and everything. I think the story is very good. It's shorter. You can beat the whole thing in, 8 or 9 hours, I think. I think every episode's 3 hours per chapter. There's 3 chapters. They come out each week. So there's only 3 episodes, not 5. It's not as nearly as big as an investment.
Oh, okay. And you've played them all already, right? Because you did a review, so you already sneak peek access there.
Yep, we hooked up with the Xbox Drive and we did a collab review together.
Aww.
We released that on the feed earlier this week. So if you missed it, you guys can just look in that feed there and listen to that. It's mostly spoiler free. I think there might be. I heard somebody tell me that one thing could be considered a spoiler. I think it's considered a spoiler if you had zero idea about the game at all. It's totally things that's in the marketing and things that's been alluded to. So it's not what I would call spoiler, but it's mostly spoiler free. I think we did a really good job of kind of dancing around, which is actually hard to do because the game is all story.
Yeah.
To talk about the game for an hour without really mentioning anything about the story is a bit. I think it's very good. If I had to rank them all, I think it's my least favorite Don't Nod story game.
Okay.
But that's not to say it's bad.
Sure. You like them all, so.
Yeah, I like them all. That's a better way of putting it. Yeah, I like them all. So it's my fourth best. And I had some issues with the narrative overall. I had one instance where I felt like the story was being very forced. I had another instance, and I didn't really go into this in depth on the podcast because it is very spoilery, but where I ended up at the end really made me question a lot of what I started at the beginning. And I don't know how to feel about that. Like, I'm not exactly sure that's a bad thing, but I'm also not exactly sure that's a negative thing. It's just kind of is a thing. Because when I got to the end and I finished, and you have a choice to make at the end, and the choice that I made, I was very happy with the choice. This was the choice that I thought made sense for the story, and I liked it. And then about 15, 30 minutes went by, and I started thinking, I was like, but wait a second. If that's the ending, then what happened? That means that first part. Like, I just started, I was like, this doesn't make much sense to me. So it was just a little puzzling. Okay, long story short, it looks great. It looks so much better than, I don't want to say better. Better's not the word. It's more realistic looking than the Life is Strange game. It's a different style. It's very realistic. And when you're walking around like the environment, you kind of do have like Naughty Dog would go too far, but kind of feels kind of like that. You've played games that are similar like that, without all the action, everything obviously, but the way it looks, the environment, like how they do trees and the light effects and all that, it's very similar. You've seen other games that look like that too. So, and environmentally, it looks amazing. Snow like travels around your feet. It stays in memory, so you can make snow trails and all kinds of stuff. Like, it's just very, very detailed. It's a visual step, I think, from what they've done previously. But it is only 3 chapters. You are still doing the exact same thing. You are putting clues together. You are solving puzzles, and you are unraveling this layer mystery story. I think the puzzles are the best that the series has ever had. I don't even think it's close, to be honest with you. That's not even really they're not in comparison. Nice. The puzzles we had before are simple and don't really matter. They feel like filler. These puzzles are not filler. These puzzles are woven into the fabric of the narrative. They matter. And they're telling you a part of the story as you complete them. And in that regard, it's very good. So if you like puzzles, give it a try. If you have Game Pass, give it a try. It's a good game. I think you could argue, I think there's an argument to make. It's one of the best Game Pass games that we've had this year. And that's saying something, considering we just had Flight Sim and we just had Wasteland 3, which is getting incredible reviews. Yep. I don't, like I said, if I was reviewing it proper, I would sit on an 8.5. I would give it an 85.
It's still great.
Yeah, I think it's a great game for what it is. Yeah, I like it a lot.
Nice. I think the length of it, you telling me that, I'm glad you said that, because this is one that I'm like, well, I'll play it someday, just like I played Life is Strange someday. Eventually I got around to it. This makes it, obviously we have a very busy season coming up, and we'll talk about that shortly, but this is something I'm going to at least put on my list to be like, I'm going to get to this, because it's not a huge investment,
That's kind of how I felt with Wasteland, to be honest with you. After all the review coverage came out last week, I wanted to go play it. I was like, I'm going to go play it. And I downloaded it. I played 30 minutes on Xbox. My immediate impression was, this is probably a lot better with a PC. So
yeah, it seems to be that kind of game. Yeah, that makes sense. So
I immediately ran to my PC and kicked it off there. And then I took a look at I was doing notes. I was doing our notes, and I realized that tomorrow, the day after, I'll be playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. And then the week after that, I've got Kingdoms Amalur. And I was like, I'm not going to play Wasteland 3.
Right.
So it's just sitting on my computer one day. If I ever get to it, it'll be there. But I just realized, I was like, what's the point? Why start this? It's like a 50-hour RPG strategy thing. I don't think it's that long, but it's at least, I think the story at least like 20, 25 hours.
Yeah, time will still take it from you.
Yeah, so it's going to take a while to get through. And, I'm not like devoted into the series, but I like the intro that I played. I get it. But I just thought it'd be a lot better with a mouse. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, that's eventually what I did with I talked about Cooking Simulator on PSVG Prime, and like that's the same thing I led to. I was like, it runs fine. I had fun with it. I was like, but ultimately way better on a PC, I feel, and I went and bought it on PC. So it's weird because it's like Gears Tactics thing, which I still question like how it'll translate to controller. And we have
Halo Wars is on there, so
we have Halo Wars. We've got XCOM. Like there are all these games that do console well. But here's the thing: I feel like hypocritical saying it, because I don't like those. Like when I've played them, I'm like, oh, this isn't right. But I totally played Mario Rabbids, and I think it feels great on like I had no problems control wise.
Right.
I don't know if you call it the same, but I play Fire Emblem too, but that doesn't feel the same.
No, you're right. I agree with you. Having played both of those, you're right. They don't play the same way as they do. Like they're fine, they're adequate on console, but you're right. They're definitely better and more designed for PC. I mean, that's where these games started. Like we didn't have RTSs on, the NES and the SNES.
Sure,
like that was a later thing on PC. Makes sense. But yeah, I'm with you. It's like I have Wasteland 3 installed too, and I'm just looking at the release schedule that you have here in the notes, and I'm like, man, I don't know if I'm going to get to that either. It's the
I don't
same
think we
thing.
get to it this month.
Right. No, I'm 100% with you. There's just so much coming that it's like, man. And I have stuff I'm looking at that like I need to play, and I haven't even booted up yet, but I have like a whole bunch of things installed. Like I'm looking at Ooblets, and I'm like, I want to get back to Ooblets, and I'm like, there's so much going on. I'm not getting back to Ooblets right now.
My daughter's 60 hours in Ooblets. She still plays it. I'm telling you, I was telling Ryan this after the show the other day. If this was on a Nintendo machine, I feel like people would be screaming over
100%.
It's a really good. Like I don't want to overpraise it, but if Animal Crossing is a Game of the Year contender, Ooblets is a Game of the Year contender. It's really 100%. Good, but nobody's playing it.
I agree.
Nobody that I know is playing it.
Right. No, I'm with you. And that's this crowded schedule we're talking about too is like that's part of the reason. And I know it broke your heart. I uninstalled PGA. So I'm like I don't have the time, and it's not something I want to get to and play. So there's all the stuff that we're going to talk about that I do want to get to play, and that's kind of thing. I would end up taking a back burner to that.
So let me do a plug. For those listening, PGA 2K21 on Xbox, we are running the PSVG Tour weekly. We have tournaments scheduled through November, and what we're doing is we're picking up all of our favorite podcasts, and we are building an event around that podcast. So we have the PSVG Prime Pro-Am. Mm-hmm. We have the Canadian Ball Pro-Am. We have the Board of Video Games Par 3 Shootout. We have the Backlog Invitational. So we've got all these things. So if you've got a podcast you'd like to plug, hit me up in the DMs or on Discord, and we will build you an event. After this week, I'm very excited for next week's event, is the new podcast launch open. Right. So guys, pay attention. We'll have some news to follow soon.
Sounds like a plan. So, other news coming up. Donnie, we got another announcement that Ubisoft Forward presentation is coming next week, September 10th. They're back again. Will feature, as we know, Watch Dogs Legion, Hyperscape, Rainbow Six Siege, Immortals, Phoenix Rising, formerly known as Gods and Monsters, and surprises. So, I'm a Ubi guy. We know that. I like most of these games that are on here. Although I'm wondering, I am excited to see more of Gods and Monsters. Obviously, we talked about that. Watch Dogs Legion, of course.
How do you like the name?
More of that.
Immortals, Phoenix Rising.
No, Gods and Monsters actually was better.
That's like, worse, isn't it? It's like, that's worse, guys. You made it worse. You should have just called it Immortals or Phoenix. Just pick one.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. But they like these long names now. Watch Dogs Legion, Rainbow Six Siege, Immortals, Phoenix Rising. They can't do short names. They won't do it. We know Ubisoft said they had more surprises in this. I'm sure there's something here that's not mentioned. However,
that rollerball game.
All right, good surprises. I hope they have some good surprises to talk about. Hyperscape is fine. It's going to be a long haul for that game to try and compete with these other battle royales. All right, there's just too many. Rainbow Six Siege, that game has been out forever.
No. Hang on a second. Updates. That's on me. I'm actually excited for that. It's not Siege.
Is it the other one?
It's Quarantine. Rainbow Six Quarantine.
Thank you. So I redacted what I was about to say because I was going to go after that one. I'm like, I want to see Quarantine. Never mind. I'm more hyped for this now because I want to see Watch Dogs Legion and I want to see Rainbow Six Quarantine because that might be the first Rainbow Six Siege game I played in like a decade if that comes out and it still looks as good as it did last time we saw it.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. Except the excited part. I don't think I'm really excited about this. I think it's because Watch Dogs and Hyperscape. I want to know more about Immortals, Phoenix Rising. But I got to tell you, like after all that this game has been through and stuff, like I'm a little concerned about it. I'm wondering if it's just going to be like the ukulele version of Breath of the Wild. Like it's just kind of like it's a clone, but it's not the same. Like I want to know. I want to be invested into it. So maybe they can sell me. I'm hoping they can sell me. But knowing that there's no Far Cry, surprise drop coming, and half of this games we've already seen. Like, I'm not going to stream it.
No.
I'll probably watch it. It depends on the work schedule and everything. But I watch most things, so I'll probably watch it. But I'm not like, oh my god, I can't wait. Bookmark the calendar. Like if I missed it, I'd be fine. If I was like, oh yeah, that was a thing, and I just get some notes. Because and especially the last time it was like an hour, and they showed like 4 games.
Yeah. They don't need to go into that amount of detail for Watch Dogs Legion again.
They do another 20-minute tour of Watch Dogs.
Yeah, you don't need really much more in Hyperscape.
I'm actually upset that it's Watch Dogs at all. It's like, show me more Assassin's Creed.
That's the next game out, so that's probably why.
I guess, but
this
I've
is like
seen
the last
so much Watch Dogs. It's like, I get it.
Right, yeah.
At this point, why is anybody playing it? We've already seen it.
That's fair. Gods and Monsters, I'm going to keep calling it Gods and Monsters anyway. I agree. I'm a little concerned with that one too. I'm wondering what that's going to be like. Is it a Breath of the Wild clone, or is it more? This is what I hope it is. I hope it's more like Assassin's Creed, but in a different art style.
I think it's exactly what it is. I think all the people going the Breath of the Wild thing is just a style. I actually think it's just Assassin's Creed.
That's fine. That's a huge game, though. That's not a short
Assassin's
thing.
Creed. Yeah. It's coming to Switch. It's going to be on Xbox, it's going to be on PlayStation. Sure. So I'm interested in seeing the performance levels, but I want to be invested into what you're doing and why you're doing it. That's what I'm missing from it. So we'll find out, I guess. And here's the other thing: is that game next summer?
Have they even said? I don't think they've even said.
No, it was just delayed. This is the first time we've heard about it since delay. Remember, it was supposed to be last March.
Yeah,
that was its release date.
It's going to be beyond
Far Cry.
Yeah, past Far Cry.
So I'm thinking May to August next year.
I think that's probably fair. The chat's blowing up right now. Justin's saying, give me Far Cry 3 Part 2. Dev says, we've seen enough Assassin's Creed as well. I actually agree with that too, so we don't need to that or Watch Dogs anymore. So Beyond Good and Evil 2 could show up. I don't think so, Dev. I think that game might be dead in the water.
I don't think it's dead.
It's next gen direct. It's not even going to be on this current gen, I don't think at all. It's a long ways out, I bet.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So yeah, tune into that September 10th if you're interested.
Splinter Cell.
That's the one everyone wants. Like, let's be honest, that's the stealth.
And they've been teasing it, but they've also been breaking everybody's hearts by doing like these mobile tie-ins and these things.
The mobile game, which
it would be the perfect game to be like. And by the way, 2022 Splinter Cell, and you get like the little wee or something.
That's all they need. Just do like a little teaser, like they did with Metroid. Do that and just get it out to get people hyped, because that's what a lot of people were wondering. What's the deal with that? At least say you're working on it. Just shut people up. We're working on it. Something just hit me. I believe we recalled. Isn't there a rumor that there's a Prince of Persia remake? Didn't that leak? Yes. So I imagine that also could potentially show up. That's true. Yeah, they're talking about a remake of Sands of Time, I believe, was the one. We talked about it on Prime a little while ago. So September highlights coming up that are actually not on Game Pass, so not really Xbox specific, but we're talking about because we're excited about these things. You mentioned earlier Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 out the 4th. So excited. NBA 2K21 out the 4th. Marvel's Avengers, if you don't have the super sweet deluxe digital edition like us, the 4th. So we're going to be busy, Donnie. And the Coma 2 comes as well. Is that coming cross-platform, or is that Switch only? It's already on Switch. It's coming to Xbox. I played and reviewed it. It's good. It's a lot better. It's more complex than the first one. Better or worse, it's kind of the same thing. It's the way my short review was. The Coma 2 was probably the game they wanted the Coma 1 to be, but they couldn't afford to make it. Mm-hmm. So the second one, it has like all the bells and whistles, but it has the stamina mechanic when you run around. I don't like that. Yeah, I don't like that either. But I also play Breath of the Wild. It has stamina mechanic, but it's different, right? It's a different style of game. I don't like in the horror game. Could you imagine you play Resident Evil and you had a stamina meter? You already have to run around so much to begin with. Right, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what it is. It'd be terrible. Running around like Clock Tower, but if you had to manage your stamina while you're doing it, it's like, come on, guys. This makes it worse. So what do you think? Game Pass game? Coma 2? That seems like that would be one that could pop up. Not necessarily like at launch, but I feel like that's one that's going to be on Game Pass. The first one never hit Game Pass, so I'm not sure if they have that relationship. True. Yeah, that's true. But I would like to, because I think in the indie horror space, which has been pretty ripe with options. Yeah. I said it, 4 years ago, like when the Switch launched? The Coma and Detention are some of my favorites. I think they're really, really good, and they're the old school Clock Tower type of, oh, man. Sorry, I'm going to derail the podcast. I had a thought when I was playing Tell Me Why. Why don't you give Don't Nod Clock Tower?
and you have Until Dawn-esque type thing, right? Kind of meets Dontnod, because Dontnod's gameplay are puzzles, finding things, like getting the keys to doors and stuff as you walk around and run, right, in these set pieces, like these set environments. So maybe it would just be a little bit bigger than what they've done with Life is Strange, but like when I was playing Tell Me Why, for whatever reason it hit me, and I was like, Clock Tower could totally come back as like an Edith Finch, type of game, an Until Dawn type of game, where you have these scripted attack scenes that you've got to get out of, but you got to find, the ink to get the typewriter to unlock the door to get the key. Yeah.
No typewriters. Let's not do typewriters anymore. Those are done. Yeah, and Marvel's Avengers, for those that didn't hear, they had another war table yesterday as well. Really, the only announcement there was that Kate Bishop is coming. For those that are not comic savvy here, that is Hawkeye's protege, who eventually ends up taking over as he retires. So basically just another Hawkeye, just a female version, younger.
Do all of the superheroes have, like, girl understudies?
That was a trend, yeah, because Iron Man had Ironheart, who was a female, like, protege of his. Well, Hulk has She-Hulk, but that's not necessarily protege. They're different characters. So I guess it's kind of, they made a twist.
Did any of the girls have male
have more girls
understudies?
No.
Just saying.
I know of. It's true. Let's level that battlefield there. But she's coming, and because Marvel's Avengers, they said they're going to have like a storyline reason for each of these characters to be introduced, and Kate Bishop actually will lead the Avengers to find Hawkeye. So that's how she ties into the story. So we will be getting her before we even get Hawkeye, which is kind of a surprise. And they kind of nodded that there was supposed to be more announcements, but out of respect for Chadwick Boseman, they did not for Black Panther. Because there's been like data mining that there's a raid on Wakanda and that Black Panther will most likely be in the game, but it looks like they held back on any announcements around that because of his unfortunate passing. So.
Sure. How are you liking the game?
Exciting to see.
How are you liking it?
I haven't played it. I've only played the beta.
Oh, okay.
We don't have it. We don't get it till the 4th.
Oh, I thought you had the super deluxe edition. Okay.
I didn't order the deluxe edition because the only difference was you got to play it early and you got some skins, and I'm like, sure. So I saved the extra $10 or $15 it was to do that.
I wasn't super on what I played. It is kind of, like Marvel Ultimate Alliance in 3D. That's very much apropos. I might play it, like when I get through some of these other games. But the one thing that really bothered me, I can't stand Thor's voice at all.
Oh, okay.
He sounds like Sean Connery. It's like a bad Sean Connery impression. And for whatever reason, every time he talks, I cannot get that out of my mind. It's like Thor this Connery. Glass breaking, shattering feeling. I'm just like, why does he sound like this? He sounds like there's stuff in his mouth. It's like, clear your throat, man.
I guess I didn't pay attention to it too much because he's only in that beginning part. But I'll have to listen for it because I'll be playing it when it comes out. Okay. That's first in my pecking order. Then Tony Hawk is later for me.
Okay.
After that, though, on the 8th, we're getting more games. Kingdom of Amalur: Re-Reckoning, as we mentioned, is coming back out, as well as The Sims 4 Star Wars DLC. As ridiculous as that is coming out. I am intrigued to see Kingdoms of Amalur, to see how that is. Like I said, my state has a bad history with this game, but I'm trying to put that behind me and just be like, I want to play this game again. Because I did play it briefly and I enjoyed it. Just
word of mouth, everybody said it's great. And for a long time, I've been told if I liked Fable, that this would be a game that you like. I don't know what that means. To me, they aren't the same game, but I've heard that from people. If you like Fable, you'll like Kingdoms of Amalur. So I'm excited.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there. After that, on the 13th, is that what it is? 13th, Crisis Remastered and WWE 2K Battlegrounds hit. It's the 18th. Sorry, your cursor's in the way. I couldn't see. So yeah, more Crisis, the same game that's been remastered or I think ported like a lot. It's the Elder Scrolls of first-person shooters at this point. It's on everything. But WWE 2K Battlegrounds, the game still looks ridiculous, but I'm kind of intrigued by it.
Smash with WWE folks.
Right. It's somewhat interesting to me. I want to see more.
I still haven't bought the game. I have it earmarked.
I thought you bought it on Switch.
I have it earmarked for Switch, but I'm still I'm holding off because NBA Playgrounds on Switch was not good at first. The second one is good. So I like it. And that's why I'm leaning that way. But I need to know first, like with Deadly Premonition, like I'm a little worn. Like I need somebody to show me gameplay footage on Switch looking decent. Otherwise, I'm going to buy it on Xbox.
That's where I'd be concerned too. Is are they going to support it and update it and fine
tune it like they would? Because if it's 300p and 23 frames a second, I'm not buying it there.
No.
So hopefully it's good. If it can run 720, 30 frames, I'll get it there because that's where Jack's going to play it more. He's going to play it more there. But if not, I'm going to buy it on Xbox, and then hopefully I guess it will come to xCloud later on because it's a game I definitely would play portably.
That's true. It does look like a portable game, but I'm afraid, like you, how it's going to run.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, we've seen some good and some bad out of the Switch.
Yep.
And then on the 25th, Mafia Definitive Edition, the original Mafia game, remastered Definitive Edition, comes out.
Playing that too.
So,
Looks amazing.
I'll be excited to jump right into that. I finished Mafia 2. I'm ready for this, and then I'll jump into 3 because I still haven't played 3 yet at all. So I'll go back. I'll play the first one and then go to the third one after that.
Wow, 3 is it got enhanced on X. That's why I got into it and played it. But you don't have the X, right?
Nope.
Nope. Okay.
Got the S. But I still haven't played it at all, so I'll still be fine playing it, even if it's not in its best visual capabilities there. We did get some Game Pass highlights were announced at Gamescom in a video post this past week. So in Game Pass now, Crusader Kings 3 on PC available now. That also has gotten absolutely ridiculous reviews. 10 out of 10s. Like, yeah. Never heard of Crusader Kings 1 and 2, but 3 I'm hearing more about than the other two games combined. So, and also Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition PC pre-install now, which I find odd because in my head, not knowing much about Crusader Kings, to me that just sounds like it'd be just like Age of Empires 3. So it's like weird timing that you get two games that are probably very similar. Drake Hollow on console is available now. Donnie, we actually own that. I forgot to tell you. We own that. It's not Game Pass for us. We actually have it. Haven't played it yet. I will play it before next week's show so I could talk about it and tell people about it. I know Coach Mo had a lot of good things to say about it. He's enjoying his time with it. So
I checked into it, and it reminded me of Grounded. That's why I didn't want to play it.
I hope not.
Not that I think it's bad. It's just I just play Grounded.
Right. Yeah. I just don't want to craft a bunch of million things.
That's
like
exactly.
that.
I mean, it's like a base builder. Like you have like this tower defense base stuff going on, and then you shoot stuff. And I was like, that's cool. Not for me though.
Fair enough. Jackbox Party Pack 4 is out on console September 3rd.
That's fine.
Resident Evil 7 Biohazard console and PC September 3rd as well. If you folks have not played that, just freaking play it. Especially now. We're getting to spooky season. It's a great game.
Good time.
Play it. Tell Me Why Chapter 2 for console and PC will be out September 3rd as well, so you have time to catch up. Tuhu Luna Nights console and PC. It's an ID at Xbox game.
It's actually out now. I got a tweet alert
it's out now.
4 minutes ago that it's available now.
Well, there you go. They like to do that the day early now. I noticed that. World War Z is coming to PC September 3rd. Star Renegades PC, also ID at Xbox game September 8th. Disagia, or Disagia, I don't know how you pronounce it.
Disgaea 4
whatever.
Complete Plus.
Sure.
You got to say it
PC.
for Garrett. He's so excited. He's so excited.
He's in the chat right now, too.
Yeah,
he said he don't know if he can handle Crusader Kings.
He's very excited for this game, and I told him I hope he enjoys it.
I hope so, too.
Right?
Although I feel like he probably would have already played it by now, but, okay. Hot Shot Racing.
This looks awesome.
ID at Xbox September 10th. It does look pretty cool.
Virtual. It's like Virtua Racing or like Daytona. And it's like super edgy. They said their edges are so sharp it'll cut you, which I love. Did Dreamcast ever run with that? That sounds so Sega.
No, I don't think so, but that does sound awesome. That's a great way to pitch the game.
I watched 3 minutes of them like drifting around a track and stuff, and it has like that announcer. It's like, go fast. I was like, dude, I'm totally downloading this game and playing it.
Push on the gas.
That's exact. Yes, that guy is in it. He's like shoutcasting. I'm oddly excited. It's Game Pass, right? Why not?
Yeah. That's true. Just play it. Just play it. Tell Me Why Chapter 3 will drop on September 10th for console and PC as well to wrap up that saga. And then just coming soon, Donnie, and this I am also excited about because I want to jump back in. I want to get all in on this one. Destiny 2, Shadowkeep, and Forsaken on console coming soon.
Is this the new stuff that they were talking about? Like the new stuff launching into Game Pass? Or is this the old stuff?
Shadowkeep is new, I believe. Dev's in the chat. Please tell me I'm right on this, Dev. He's already giving me crap about not saying that game name correctly. He said no, it's not the new stuff yet. So
of course not.
Yeah,
I'm not going to play it.
Either way, I only played like one of the DLC packs for Destiny 2 anyway, so I'll probably just jump in on Xbox, start a new character, just go from scratch and play through again because the campaign wasn't terribly long anyway. So I'll probably just build up so I get familiar with how the game mechanics, and I know it did change a bit since launch. Of course, it changed actually a lot since launch. So I'll probably just start over from that aspect and get in on some Destiny goodness.
I imagine I'm just going to go right through the ones that we talked about earlier. So I'm going to play Tony Hawk's Pro Skater so much, and that's going to lead me right into Kingdom Amalur. And if I like it, I'll at least play it for a week or so. And then if I'm not done with it, totally dropping it to play
You won't be done with that by then. So
I'm totally playing it to play Mafia. So, and then I'll get some 2K Battlegrounds in there somewhere on whatever console I've got. I've got credit on both systems, so I'm just waiting for somebody to tell me, the ins and outs.
Dev says in the chat that the new stuff for Destiny 2 is coming to Game Pass in November, so you can get started and start trying to catch up. You get 2 months to catch up, basically.
No.
Okay. Most people should try and get in and catch up. It's fine. But yeah, I'll be playing Avengers. I'll be all in on that. I will be dabbling in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. Kingdoms of Amalur, so I do want to play that as well, but that might take a back seat to Avengers for a while. Possibly playing that maybe even after Mafia at this point. So give Avengers like a month and jump into Mafia, I think, for me. But Garrett says he'll catch up on Game Pass for PC next year on all the Destiny stuff. So moving on from Game Pass, we do have some more news, kind of, sort of, about the Initiatives game, which has been heavily rumored to be Perfect Dark. Our buddy Jeff Grubb chronicled his findings on Xbox Mysterious Quadruple A Studio and shared the following. The Initiative is dabbling. So actually, before I read this, guys, take a Valium, take a swig of whiskey, and see if you can make any sense of the statement as well. The Initiative is dabbling with the Perfect Dark universe for its upcoming game. What does that mean? Well, it doesn't mean that it's a new Perfect Dark game, and it may not even take place in the same universe or star the same characters. So don't expect a game about Joanna Dark, but maybe elements of her game could show up in the Initiative's project. Think about the link between Apex Legends and Titanfall. Respawn says those two games exist in the same universe, and the Initiative's game may not even have that strong of a connection to Perfect Dark.
So this is, he posted this kind of as a correction because he was talking on a stream where he talked about how it was Perfect Dark related and people really ran with it. And I think he was like, oh, let me slow this train down a little. So I thought it was good that we pointed out. The Initiative has also made a bunch of news lately. They've hired a bunch of people from like Crystal Dynamics and Naughty Dog and other folks. Like they continue to hire. So it just sounds like it's a stealth single player, based adventure game. So yeah, I mean, I'm thinking Splinter Cell, maybe even Last of Us type stuff is kind of what I have in mind for whatever this game is. Not Last of Us in terms of survival, but gameplay.
Right.
Gameplay, right? You'd be sneaking around counters and hallways and doors and stuff and taking out people and, doing a story or whatnot.
I'm just torn as to why even have it tied to Perfect Dark at all. Like, if it's at the point that it may not even take place in the same universe, how is it connected at all then? Like,
I have a sense that maybe the way that I've been thinking about this, and actually I feel a little bit better about it because I said this when it first came up. When it first came up and it was like, it could be Perfect Dark, I was like, dude, imagine if Perfect Dark was Control and how awesome that is. I'm going to go back to Control. Control just kind of tied itself to Alan Wake, even though they're like not the same at all. I'm kind of thinking maybe that's what this is. Maybe there's like a note or something somewhere about Joanna or Dark or something, like it's just to give you that little nostalgic tie, but it's a different game because I think it needs to be a different game. I'm for that. They need new IP. Now, if they rebooted Joanna Dark like Control, to me, that would be a new IP. But I think they need new IP, new characters, something completely brand new. Because there still is that thing that if it was called Perfect Dark or a story set in Perfect Dark, there's still people that would be like, I didn't like Perfect Dark, and then you write it off. So it needs to be its own thing.
But I agree. Like new IP is always good, especially in the world of Xbox. They really need that and stop leveraging the same couple of franchises we always talk about. However, I'd almost argue that Perfect Dark isn't
State of Decay. They have new IP.
Yeah, but they're in State of Decay 3. They keep going back to that. Well, that's my point. Like it's Halo, it's
Grounded.
Gears, it's State of Decay, it's Forza. Yes, Grounded is the thing. That's
they
what I'm
have.
saying. They need this new IP.
They have new IP as well.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. And that's what they should be encouraging. I agree with you there. However, at this point, if they did a Perfect Dark game, that basically is a new IP.
Yeah, no, I agree there.
That was on the original Xbox.
That's what I've been saying the whole time.
Like,
that's what I've been saying the whole time. I would welcome like an actual Perfect Dark game. I think it'd be awesome. I'd be excited about it.
I didn't even play the Xbox one. So that's how I'm N64 Perfect Dark, Kevin.
We apparently are very in the minority there. Almost everybody I've brought that up to has said no. So yeah. So they should be excited about this. Do something else.
Okay.
But no, I'm with you. I was excited for first-person shooter Perfect Dark. I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah. Give me those little turret guns with the laser seeking stuff like that. Whatever. Okay, fair enough. Xbox is going to be at the Tokyo Game Show later this month. They will have dedicated time, I believe, for the first time ever.
They're kicking off the show.
Yeah, which is nuts. September 24th, Xbox is the first presenter beginning at 5 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. You got to stay up late, Dev. 8 a.m. Eastern Time, 2 p.m. CEST time. What the heck is that?
I don't know.
Okay, Donnie's just cutting and pasting.
Yeah, that was from their tweet. Yeah.
Okay, 9 p.m. in Japan. Xbox did already calm the waters by tweeting out not to expect any next-gen info. It will be in Japanese and feature Minecraft, Flight Simulator, Game Pass, and other items. So, basically, it's big that they're kicking off the show. By all means, it definitely is. However, I find it weird that they're kicking off the show and basically talking about nothing new, right?
I think it's possible that they have something to announce. I don't think it would be a new announcement. I could see them announce another Japanese-focused game coming to Game Pass, like for example. So okay. I'm not ruling out that we have zero news at all, but considering how criminally the Xbox sells over there, honestly, just having the time to even make their case to them is probably value enough. Because they have been trying, right? They have Yakuza and Dragon Quest and stuff coming to Game Pass. How many folks in the Japanese market even know what Game Pass is? Yeah. So when I heard this news, that was what I was thinking. This is a chance for them to tell people what Game Pass is. Like, hey, did you know on your PC that you already have? I would imagine that's also going to be a part of it. That you can pay us $15 a month and you can get all this stuff. Did you know that? That's what I imagine this will be. And then I was also thinking that they might do some sort of xCloud stuff.
I was thinking xCloud. xCloud makes a lot of sense here.
Because they're all portable and stuff like that, and they have internet infrastructure, and they're already streaming games. They've been streaming games. So, yeah, I can imagine them doing a play there as well.
Dev says, call it what it is. It's the Bland Explosion game show and give us all the JRPGs on Game Pass. That's Garrett show. Yep. It might be. But yeah, xCloud Game Pass. It makes sense. It's just weird that they're kicking off the show for them, and it's like, you're right. This is a market that they need to saturate better because they really haven't executed well overseas.
There were weeks where they were selling single-digit console numbers.
Yep.
Like I was tracking numbers like nine Xbox.
Yeah, I mean the Wii U was outselling it at one point. Like that's how
after the Switch came out, the Wii U was outselling Xbox.
Yes. It's crazy.
So while this is not new to us,
right?
Some of these games might be very new to people over there. Like they may have no idea. So, yeah, I think Game Pass, xCloud, like I said, maybe they have another JRPG or Japanese laden thing that they can announce coming to Game Pass. Maybe they have one more of those in them. So
makes sense.
We'll see. We'll find out. Now, it's like I said, I'm not expecting any news, but I'm glad they tweeted it out because when it first came out, people were like, they're just running with the rumors, right? Like maybe this is where the S comes out or anything like that. I think we're going to have the S before that because they did tweet out a photo of Phil Spencer on set in front of cameras, lights, everything, recording. And it was the guy who works on their production company. And he was like, we just recorded a little something. So I think the S announcement's coming. I think it's coming soon. I think it's going to be a video. And I think it's going to be like a wire drop. I don't think it's going to be a presentation. I think it's going to come out of nowhere. I think they're just going to put it up one day. I think the next week... I think a week from now, maybe.
I would love that, and I would agree. We're due for something in September, and I think they'd want to stay away from it.
Away
from this presentation.
Upsetting you. I don't think it's going to have price.
September, man, it's crazy.
It's where we are
at this point. I agree.
I can't believe it, but I don't think they're going to announce the price. I think they're holding off. They're holding off until Sony announces price, and I think the idea was to do the S and Halo multiplayer and talk about how cheap you could get into Xbox with a console and free multiplayer on Halo and everything. I think that was the goal. And then Halo got delayed and then PlayStation still has announced the price. So they have to announce the console. I'm not sure if you saw this week, but people are buying new controllers. Yeah. Or the Xbox Series S is on the paperwork on actual controllers that exist now. Yeah. Regular controllers off the shelf. So it's like, it's not even a secret anymore. Everybody knows. The S is a thing.
It's a worse secret than Fable.
Which I think it's insane that they would announce it without the price, because that's the only thing that anybody wants to know about it now. We basically know what it looks like. We basically know how, I think we even basically know what it's going to cost. But they need to announce it, and I don't know. I follow all the influencers, Jeff Grubb and everybody. I track all their tweets and everything. I've even talked to some of them, and they've all been like, yeah, don't expect that. So I'm like,
yeah,
wow, this is where we are now. I guess are we just going to pay whatever like it rings up at? We're just like, hey, I would like to buy a console. And they're like, that's beep, $800 or something. Like, we have no idea. I don't know. I don't get it.
It's weird. It really is. But I like you. I mean, I guess at this point I wouldn't be surprised either. It just seems really, really foolish. And I mean, honestly, so not foolish. I take that back. To not announce the price in September to the consumer market is one thing. It's at the point now retailers have to place their order. So if it's there, it's going to leak. And I know Jeff Grubb keeps talking about this. I do not believe that it's going to be sold exclusively at one retailer.
That one. Insane. Not one. That wasn't his point. Not one. Think about it. You're absolutely right. In the wide world of retail, if you had 10 million of something you need, you've got to ship them, you got to prepare them, you have to work with your folks to have it ready.
Yeah, they have to buy it.
But if you're only working with like 2, you don't. You have a lot more time to deal with. And you can set up those deals. You can be like, look, we're going to go with GameStop and Best Buy and then ourselves. That's the other part of the Jeff Grubb statement, is they also can provide direct to customer retail. They don't have to go to the retailer. So they could say, look, we're going to reserve 1 million for you and 1 million for you. You guys have it. Like, that's it. And then not 1 million, I was just throwing a number. 250,000. And we're going to sell the other part because we're short stocked. That's a part of that. The part of it is, if you're already short stocked, if demand is already going to be high, it actually makes more sense to work with limited retailers. And then if you do that, then yeah, you can hold on to the price longer because not as much has to happen.
I guess but the thing is, it's still going to leak out because they have to buy them. So if they do work these deals out, which to me, that having worked in retail for so long, that just makes, I get your point, and I'm not criticizing your point. To me, it makes no sense. Just because that's not how these things work in most cases normally. Like, it's a different world, so by all means, and we've seen, especially in the video game industry, it's a totally different world in 2020. But those, even if they said, okay, we're going to work with Best Buy and GameStop and that's it, those orders would have already been placed by now. They have to have purchased those units in order to distribute, ship for a November release. Those things would have been done. And if that was done, then the price would have leaked by now. Somebody at GameStop or Best Buy would have been like, here's the price for this SKU. Here's how many SKUs we're getting. Here's the stock counts. Like, I used to be able to look that stuff up. I could do that stuff. Right. That's what I mean. It's I think that's crazy.
They don't have them yet.
Right. So that wire's getting down. So if they don't announce the price,
I mean, supply is not going to be there. That's what right. I think more and more people are coming to the realization. And you see it. PlayStation has opened up a lottery to get selected to be able to buy one. Like, if that's not a huge red flag to be like, whoa, we are not in 2014. They do not have 2 million of these ready to go November.
I think Sony does.
Then why would they open up a lottery for pre-orders?
To calm people down, because people don't want to go out to stores. There are still those people who don't want to go out, and they're not going to camp out overnight somewhere in a line close to people to get a console, like in this world.
I think in this world you have to camp out in the Amazon world. I think
you do, because Amazon, look at just the Amiibos. You Amiibo goes up, you have to pre-order within 2 hours, they're gone forever. Like on Amazon.
So I would listen to it being like an anti-scalper mechanic, but even then,
yes,
PlayStation doesn't have to do that. Like, they don't care if they scalp or not. Like, it's up to them to sell consoles. So I think if you're limited, I actually think it makes more sense to work directly with 1 or 2, to be selective with the retailers you're working at. Less coordination, you can keep your secret longer. So if demand is going to be light, and by almost all accounts, everybody is saying that. I think everybody that I typically follow for news, they're all like, they're just not as prepared. Like, components have been harder, manufacturing has been harder, which is crazy because I think Sony and Xbox both went on record saying nah, we're good. The supply chain's good. We're all good. And there's just no evidence to back that up. I think even we would see more leaks from just even the production line. You know, like we were seeing Switches and stuff like way out in advance. Like we had like the one picture of like Sony's plate, but like outside of that, it's basically been closed shut.
Well, we've seen the consoles though, so it's not. We don't need to see any more of that.
But I mean, like we haven't seen boxes of them. We haven't seen pallets of them. Like all that stuff usually leaks, like you said, when they're out in major production, they're being moved around.
Yeah.
You know, people want to see it, and you know, like I could get 10,000 likes if I had a picture of a trailer full of PlayStation 5s. Sure. You know, like that stuff usually gets out, and it hasn't. And it's not in people's SKUs. It's not in people's systems. They don't have them in stores. Like the boxes aren't in the back. It doesn't sound like it's out yet.
Right. No. So back to, I totally got derailed on this. So back to my point though. So if they haven't had those conversations with retailers yet to purchase, like you said, because nothing's been leaked out yet, if they don't announce the price in September, that will 100% have to leak, because like the drop dead to have things in retail places and ready to go is going to be October, early October. So if Xbox doesn't come out and say the price, it's going to come out anyway, whether they want to or not. So why not just say it? Like I don't, at this point, especially if quantities are limited, what difference does the price make at that point? Because it doesn't matter to them. People, they're going to get scalped or whatever, then people are going to pay 3 times as much to get it. Like that's going to happen.
See, on the Xbox side, I get it, because I think it's just about Sony. Like they just want to make sure that they're on par with Sony. With PlayStation, I actually don't get it, because their supply is going to sell out immediately at any price.
Yeah.
So
I think they're doing to screw with Xbox, because here's the thing. So Xbox can announce the price, but like we've talked about numerous times, they don't have anything to help sell that console. So realistically, it doesn't matter if Xbox comes out $100 more.
No, I still think it does.
The same people are still going to buy it, and the other people aren't.
You're right. It may not matter in sales. I'm not going to argue with that, but it matters a shit ton in perception. And Xbox cannot have that perception. That would
if Halo doesn't come out until next holiday,
not
what
nearly,
make? They'll drop the price by $100 by then.
Not nearly as important as being $100 more than PlayStation. That will kill them. That is an absolute destroyer.
I mean, I think not having the inventory is a bigger killer than to not have the games to sell with it is another killer. Like at this point,
yeah, I disagree with you with that, but I'm going to save that for our questions here.
Okay, all right. So let's move on. Xbox One question comes from BMax.
Yep.
For all the momentum and positivity towards the Series X had at the beginning of the year, has Microsoft now run out of steam at the moment that when it's needed the most?
Kinda. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
No, I mean, I think if you're judging momentum, has their momentum cooled? Absolutely. And that would be the case for anybody that loses a big first party announcement in a hot window. Now, I've said this a bunch. I don't think that means Xboxes are going to sit on shelves. Xboxes are going to sell anyway. I think there are enough core Xbox fans for them to move initial shipments. You can't sell 60 million consoles in a month. People, I think sometimes we get a little short-sighted with opinions and people forget that. They're like, oh my God, no Halo. It's going to get outsold 10-1. It's like, no, they're still Xbox fans and they're still going to buy Xboxes. They're going to happen. But having no Halo will hurt momentum and sales momentum through the months. Not first month. That first day, they're going to sell out. Wii U sold out. That's the point I always go back to. For as bad as the Wii U was, the Wii U sold out first day, and it sold out first week. And even its first month sales were strong because that was a core Nintendo fan that will buy everything that they put out. And then after those people got it, sales fell off a cliff because nobody else wanted it. That's what you got to be worried about. It's not that first month, that second month. It's the third, fourth, and fifth month. And if they can't get something in that window, it is going to hurt. So, but yeah, I think momentum has definitely cooled for sure. But as I explained today in the Discord, to bring your point back up now, I think there's plenty of reasons to be excited and to want an Xbox. And I was talking with Seth quite a bit, and Seth brought up the point that I've been seeing a lot on social media say there's no reason to buy an Xbox. I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true at all. I think it's false. And I've even seen people say the same thing about PlayStation. I also think that's false. I think that comes from an old mindset, a conditioned mindset. I think it comes from people that are our age, that are used to a launch lineup and a launch of a system. They've seen it with NES and SNES and Genesis and Dreamcast and N64 and PlayStation 1 and 2 and 3, and neither one of those consoles are that. We don't have an exclusive 50 games that launch on the console that you have to get the console for. It's an extension of a generation we already have. And I think most importantly, I think the reason that people are a little down, or a little, down may not be the right word, hesitant or skeptical to upgrade, and this is where I would kind of lop you in, is that the leap across this generation to the next isn't as big and as visual apparent as leaps before. So there are a lot of people that are looking at it like skeptically, like, why am I buying another box? If I can get a lot of the same games and I can play a lot of the same stuff. They're not realizing that it is a next generational leap. There is definitely a leap there. You're going to buy the box and a lot of things are going to be better the day you plug the box in. I do just think it's going to take that day happening. I think it's going to take people, early adopters, getting it, talking about how great it is and how much they enjoy it to get other people more excited. Because visually, right, if I'm comparing a 4K 60 game to a game that is already 4K 60, visually it's a tough sell. If you have an Xbox One X, you're like, what? Why am I buying this again? But there will be games, even if it's not from Xbox, that you can only play on it. And as time passes, there'll be more of those games. So I also think the fact that we had mid-generation upgrades for the first time is playing a big part of this. There's a lot of people looking at this now through the prism of Xbox One X, where I think if you were looking at this from like, if we just had launch PS4 and launch Xbox Ones and we played this entire, 6 years on this one console that nobody ever got upgraded, I think it might be a lot different. I think there'd be more fervor right now. But because of the mid-generation stuff and because of the lack of visual appeal, I think people are a little down on it. I don't think that same launch fervor is there. And then on Xbox, because of them also losing Halo, yeah, I think they've definitely lost momentum.
So, all right, I got a lot to digest here. So, number one, to your comment about people in our generation with the launch of a console expecting launch games, like even Wii U, to your point, sold out at launch, but it had launch games as well. Devil's advocate there. 43% of all gamers in 2019 were over the age of 35. So my generation is the ones that are buying most of the consoles.
Probably for now, yeah.
Right. That does play into the thing. But
I don't think it. So, but here's the thing, though. I never argue that it doesn't. I'm arguing that it's really not different from PlayStation, Xbox. So a lot of those people that are saying that are like, well, I don't need this one, but they'll totally make excuses to have the other one, or they'll say they want the other one. It's not like PlayStation has 10, 15, 20 exclusive games coming out either. They have a handful. No. It literally is the same if you're looking at it just in terms of numbers. That was really the only point.
But it's at least some. There's none.
There's a handful. There are, but we've talked about it. There are. They're just not the ones that you want, Kevin. But there are exclusive games coming to Series X.
Exclusive ones that are launching for the launch window.
Not first party.
But what are any? I don't know.
The
if
Medium.
Any are launching.
The Medium. Troy
Is
Baker.
At launch.
Yeah, it's going to be at launch.
Okay.
They've announced it's going to be at launch.
So one game.
Call of the Sea is another one they've announced. It's going to be at launch.
What is Call of the Sea?
It was the little narrative treasure island type thing, like Edith Finch, where you walk around. It's got the waterfalls and the lakes and stuff.
Oh.
And if you wanted me to sit here and spend 2 minutes, I could look them up and I could get you 2 or 3 more. I honestly understand the point you're trying to make, that there's not as many, but there are some. There are some.
Call of the Sea is also already out on Steam, but yes. Okay.
Okay.
My biggest argument, though, here is Microsoft doesn't need momentum at most right now. Not even a little bit. I've said it numerous times on the show. It does not matter what they do this holiday season. It's going to matter when Halo is ready to come out. Mm-hmm. That is when they're going to need it the most. So once again, I would say get out of Sony's way and just save the news story and have a stellar launch. I know they won't. I know it's way too late for that. So I know it's not the reality of it all. But I don't think they need the momentum the most right now at all, because they've already lost it. They've already lost it, so that's fine. Save it. Hold all in, like, once you get the pricing and the launch out there, hold everything until you're ready to deliver and blow people's minds, because then everyone's going to be waiting in line for an Xbox.
I love your idea, but I just don't think it's very realistic.
Well, so your point about people wanting to buy Xbox this holiday season still,
so
I agree.
It
will still sell out.
But if you seed the market, then anybody that's on the fence, you're just seeding. You're just giving them up. So you're assuming that anybody on the fence,
they're going to anyway.
But you're assuming that. But that's not reality. You don't know that, because we don't know what they're having, right? if they threw Madden in the box or Call of Duty in the box or in Game Pass or something, they could still turn one of those people. See, that is your bias being a PlayStation fan.
It's a launch console. They're not bundling anything third party in a launch console. We know that's never happened.
But if they put it in Game Pass,
you
know that's kind of the same thing.
Sure, but here's what's going to happen. Here's the reality of what's going to happen. And this is 12, 15 years of retail experience in toy and electronic stores. They will launch in the same window. People will get the fervor and get a PlayStation. When PlayStation sells out, some parents will be like, oh, well, I guess I'll get an Xbox.
Sure.
Xbox will still sell out.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. They don't need this momentum now because it does not matter. They're going to sell out, and it's going to be not just because of people doing that, but it's going to be the people that really want it are going to get it.
Yep.
And then everybody else will have to settle if they can't get a PlayStation.
Yeah.
So save your big announcements until you can really battle it out and say, okay, now we're ready. Here's everything we got coming at you. Here's your Halo. Here's your Gears. Here's your Forza. Let's go. Like, let this pass as it is without blowing your big announcements.
No, I'm all for that, but delaying
yeah.
the console launch.
No, like I said, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's not.
The momentum question is what I'm talking about. Is they don't even need the momentum now. Save it. Don't hold everything back at this point. Like, let medium.
I'm sorry. I was thinking so much. You've said a bunch about just delaying the entire launch of the console. I'm like, you just can't see that.
I said that, but I said that at first. But I said I know it's not going to happen. So this is what you do: is you release whatever you have out there.
Oh
and
yeah,
you just
absolutely.
Let it go.
The first 4 to 5 months, all Game Pass. Just 100% in Game Pass, and get as many indie games and everything you can to appease the people that are there for you
that already have it. Yes, and in Xbox fashion, they're not going to talk numbers anyway.
Yeah,
they're going to keep plugging that Game Pass train. So just let it go. Let those months, 5, 6 months, whatever it's going to be, till Halo and the big games are ready to come out. Just be quiet. Have it out there in the marketplace. Let it go. Do your announcements about what's coming, and then when you're ready, just full on assault against Sony at that point.
Yeah, no,
that's what I'm saying. Is they don't need the momentum at all right now because it's not going to matter.
I'm 100% agree with you there. Yeah, like them losing Halo is such a huge miss that now you've got to just kind of take it on the chin. You got to take your medicine and get through it. And like, if they don't have anything else that can come out, like I imagine, actually I haven't thought about this. Do you think Psychonauts will come out before Halo?
Maybe, but that's not going to make a difference.
But that would be the next time that you would, try to actually push a game. Would be whatever that is, Psychonauts or Halo.
Yeah, but I feel they're going to push Psychonauts as much as they push Battletoads.
Yeah, that's probably fair.
I don't like it's going to be fun. I will play it for sure. I'm excited to play it, but it's not one that the major game sphere is going to talk about.
Sean puts in the chat and he talked about Cyberpunk because that still is the game that I'm buying an X for. Like, really, if you're asking me, like, what are you going to play on your X or on your Series X? Cyberpunk. And here's the funny thing: even before Halo was delayed, that was the answer.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Even if Halo was coming out, I was still going to buy it and play Cyberpunk.
Yeah, and once again, you were going to buy it. You were playing Cyberpunk on Xbox Series X anyway.
Yeah,
but that's not one that if people are given the choice,
sure.
Well, Sony or Xbox. Well, I'm going to get Xbox, play Cyberpunk. Well, you can still play it on Sony too.
We also don't. I think we're both jumping a lot of. We're making a lot of conclusions here that we don't know the answer of. We also don't know when Digital Foundry actually comes out and tears down these consoles and actually can tell us what they can do and show us what they can do, what that might, do for folks as well. Because by all accounts, everybody that seems to know, the Xbox Series X has an advantage horsepower-wise. Now, we have to see if they can do something to show off that advantage. But if they can, it
depends what the developers do with it, too. It could be there, but if it's not being utilized.
Right, but we don't know that. Right, we don't know that. But
hey, you have to announce a price and a release date before people can actually start tearing apart and doing those breakdowns.
But let's say Cyberpunk and Assassin's Creed do run better on Xbox than they do on PlayStation. That's something for a lot of people. And if you don't this RTX stuff that just came out, like a lot of people care about that. A lot more than I think they want to let on.
All right. Do you want to do this other one you have under here?
I do.
Make it an Xbox 2 question.
Yep.
So the Xbox Series S question. Okay, serious question. I know neither of you are big PC guys, but in your opinion, does the NVIDIA GPU announcement hamper excitement for a Series X? In the same vein, does the NVIDIA announcement make Game Pass more exciting and justify Microsoft's investment into the Game Pass platform? I am personally very excited for the opportunity to invest in PC upgrades than utilizing Game Pass for Xbox exclusives, thus erasing any need to get an Xbox console. Hashtag love XOXO hugs and kisses, Justin.
Yeah. Short answer, yeah, for sure. If you're going to be the person that actually is going to PC game. For some, they look at this and they go, yeah, I don't need an Xbox. I'll just play on my BZ. Well, then do that.
Which I feel like those people already would have been anyway.
I feel like they should. I've just heard about these people in droves in the last 3 months. Like
quarantine, man.
For
it does. I want to build a PC.
For 10 years, I never found this. Apparently, everybody has a gaming PC at home. All of them. Everybody. Every PlayStation 4 owner that justifies their PlayStation 4 console, also giant PC gaming rig. They just have it all. Everything but an Xbox.
Mm-hmm. That's true. I mean, because it's there, but it's a weird argument. Like I am all in now too. Like I'm talking about looking, especially if a second stimulus package comes this way. I'm going to build a PC.
The picture that I shared earlier?
Yes.
Of that damn thing standing. It is, the graphics card is bigger than the Series X. Now, I just want to say this. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I do feel like this needs to be said. When the Xbox Series X was shown and everybody made fun of it and they called it a fridge and how big it was, did anybody think that 6 months later you'd be looking back at it being the most concise, smallest thing on the market?
Well, here's the thing with that. And I did see that picture. It's just as tall as an Xbox.
It's
Series
almost
X.
as wide.
No,
it is. It is almost as wide. It's about an inch less wide.
But it's not anywhere near as thick. It's not.
I get that. But that's just the video card. You still have to then put a whole PC next to it.
But look at your tower right now.
It won't fit in my PC.
How is that even possible? Even if it wouldn't even fit in my PC, no problem.
Nope, not mine. So you have...
You buy a mini?
So you have this giant card alone, and then you have the PlayStation 5, which towers over them both.
Oh, yeah,
I just think it's hilarious that everybody was like, oh my God, it's huge. Look at this thing. And like, what's Xbox doing? And then fast forward 6 months and it looks like the GameCube. Like it's the concise model of the options.
Yeah. Why? I don't know why Sean's attacking me here. I don't know. Sean's saying, Kevin, stop. It's just the card. I don't know what he's talking about.
Oh yeah. It is just the card. Just the card. It is gigantic. Sure. So it was funny. Jez was posting earlier, and he said something about he shared this beautiful Photoshop thing. He was like, "By the way, all these gaming journalists are speaking. You'd think that you could plug your TV directly into the graphics card, and it would play the games for you."
Yeah, right.
And I thought that was a joke, and it was a joke, obviously. But
yeah,
having then seen the graphics card compared to everything else, like, well, damn,
right?
That's a lot. True. It's a lot closer than I expected it to be.
Right, but it's also like, if you took your computer apart right now, and looked at your motherboard is bigger than your Xbox right now. Like, so yeah, these components are big. Like, it's not, if you removed your motherboard,
mine's really not. Maybe your PC is no.
Mine takes up most of the side of the case. Like,
Dev did tell me that PCs are gigantic now. My PC is not even as big as like most workstations at my office.
Oh, okay.
My PC is maybe 7 inches wide, maybe a foot deep.
Oh, how tall?
Maybe a foot.
Yeah, Donnie and I are comparing size here. Yeah, mine's at least 1.5 feet, if not 2 feet tall.
Yeah, mine's not. Mine's half that.
Okay, so all right, so you have a small one, but mine's not even as big as other people's.
Mine is on a stand, and it's not halfway to my desk.
Okay. Oh yeah, no, mine's more than halfway to my desk.
Right.
Like, and mine's nowhere near as big as the people in our Discord that post pictures of theirs. Like, it's small compared to theirs.
Sure.
But so here's the thing. So the PC thing. If PC players were already going to do it, like, they were already doing this anyway. I don't feel like these NVIDIA card announcements are making people sway to say, well, forget Series X. I'm going to build a PC now. You were going to do it anyway.
So my thing with Justin, right? Well, so Justin's the one asking, right? So if Garrett asked this question, I totally believe Garrett. Like, yeah, Garrett, play on your PC. You're a PC player. Right. Devin. Yeah, don't buy an Xbox. Why would you buy an Xbox? You play PC. Justin, never heard Justin ever play games on PC. This is a first. I never seen him take a picture of a game running on his PC. All he talks about is how much is his PlayStation. So I'm just pointing out, I'm using Justin as an example, not attacking Justin. I'm just pointing out how often I think I hear PlayStation people justify not being interested in Xbox because of PC.
Sure. Yeah.
And I'm very interested to hear how much they hold on to that when PlayStation puts more of their games on PC, because I want to see PlayStation people selling these boxes they don't need. And guess what? We're not going to see it. We're not going to see it at all. It's going to go real quiet. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah. And Sean makes a point in the chat that actually I didn't get to, and I was ready to say it, Sean, too, is the graphics card we think costs more than a Series X. So, Sean, you're not 100% right. We don't know how much a Series X costs yet.
That's true.
But yes, it's one component. Like, I don't see people that are saying, "Oh, I don't want to buy a Series X, but you're going to build a $2,000 PC." Like, I don't see that.
That's why I shared the tweet earlier. You could potentially, if we think what we know is true, you could get a Xbox Series X and 5 years of Game Pass for the equivalent of building that PC. Now that PC could do better things probably.
Oh, sure.
Right. And then we've got all this crap. We could talk about optimization and stuff like that. I totally think for these 3000 series cards, games will be optimized for those. But even then, we see this already in PC. Now, PC gets a lot of games early, like indies and stuff, but consoles still get exclusive games beyond first party. That happens too. It's not just the first party exclusives that PC folks don't get. Like they just got Madden, right? Like it just happened. They still don't have NHL. Right. And that was news to me. I was like, wait a minute, you can't even play NHL over there. So while I respect the PC space and I'm excited for all of our friends that are getting PCs, I just continue to point out that it's not for everybody. And I think a lot of our podcasting folks are kind of taking it that way. We think it's for everybody. It's not for everybody. It's not for me. I'm not going to ever plop down a graphics card. I have a gaming PC. Barely use it. Yeah. Because I don't want to play here. I play console. That's where I play video games. I like sitting on my TV, my little box that works. I plug in and I turn on my controller and it just works. And I don't think that's worth dismissing. So while, like you can make all the justification for getting a PC, I don't think that justification means that somebody should feel bad for not getting a console.
Right.
So yeah, Justin, I mean, if that's what you want to do, Justin, here's what I always say to you. And this is what you need to hear. If that's your plan, then thank God Xbox is there to support you with Game Pass on PC, and you can play all their games on PC. You should be thankful for that. The thing that I hate about this argument most is it's said as a negative thing. I don't need a Series X to get a PC. Yeah, you can. That's a good thing. You should be excited about it. What I want to hear is, I can't wait to build my new PC so I can play all those awesome Xbox games and have Game Pass. Fuck yeah. You should be. But you don't hear that, right? It's an excuse. It's an excuse not to have an Xbox. So, hey, whatever floats your boat. If you need an excuse not to have an Xbox, then, I can't win you over. But I'm interested to see when these PlayStation games start showing up on Steam, how many poor people I want to see more PCs in the wild. I want to see all of our PlayStation friends playing on PC like Dev. Dev, I'll give Dev credit. Dev is going to do it. I think Dev's going to do it. I don't think he's going to pay PS5. I think he's going to have a PC. So, I'm not throwing Dev under the bus. I think Dev is holding on to it. He's being for real. But I think you and I both know most people aren't.
Agreed.
I feel like most people aren't.
I agree. All right, so that wraps it up for tonight. Donnie, anything you'd like to plug before we depart this evening?
Just once again, me and a couple of members of the crew have been working on something kind of in the background that we've been leading up to unveiling, and it's happening soon. I've been dropping hints on every podcast that I've been on for the past 5 days, and I imagine the next 5 or 7 days, most of the folks will start to learn and know what that is. So I'm excited.
You're scaring me here.
Ooh, I'm excited to share it with everybody else, and I hope you enjoy it. So look out for that.
Fair enough. So everyone, please head on to psvg.blog to check out all of the amazing things the Play Some Video Games Podcast Network does. Join our Discord. We talk about this stuff all day, every day, nonstop. It's a great distraction from work. You don't need to do work anyway. Who cares about that stuff? You don't need to talk to your wife or children. Just chat with us. It's better than all of that stuff. Let's be honest. If you want to help support the cause, head on over to patreon.com/PSVG. And, if you want to follow me for whatever reason or yell at me, whatever you'd like to do, at PSVG Kevin on all of the social things. Donnie's at Eat the Hype on all the social things. But most importantly, in the words of Uncle Phil, there is no power greater than X.